Hello, Business 630 Corporate Finance students. This is the beginning of our week number 2, entitled Capital Valuation. This is for the week of February 7th through the 13th. Today is Monday, February 7th. And I welcome you all back to our course and to our second week. This is the first week of our graded assessments called a case study. Case study number 1 is now posted to Blackboard in the case study file folder, along with a rubric showing how I will grade the case. And I will talk about that in just a few minutes. Our topic this week, as I said, is capital valuation, capital financing, chapters 4 and 5, talking about the time value of money, which many of you are probably already familiar with, present value, future value, and also talking about debt valuation, how to value bonds. And then it leads into our discussions next week in chapter 7 about stocks and stock valuation to get rid of all the basics of capital financing and finance and corporate finance before we get into more strategic types of decisions. So today in our lecture for week number 2, we'll talk about, spend a little bit of time on explaining case study number 1 for you. Again, remember this week we have a Thursday class student hours where you can come and ask questions, and then my follow-up video at the end of the week on Friday, which will go over a little bit more about chapter 4, some definitions, and chapter 5. So welcome back, and let's get into it. Okay, a couple administrative things before we get going with this video. Number 1, remember, you have to select a company this week. Select a company. Some of you have yet to select a company. You're going to need that company to do your work for case number 1. So make sure you post that company work. See, one of the reasons why I have you post a company is so I can prepare my analysis of your material once you start doing case number 1 studies. So if you have yet to post a company you'll be working on this week and then throughout the course, please do so. Also this week, as you can see, we have our student professor meetings this week. Not everybody has yet signed up, so please do. As you can see, I start my meetings this evening, Monday, February 7th, going throughout the week. If you have not set a date to meet with me, please do. If this schedule does not meet your schedule, please let me know and we'll schedule a time for the coming weekend. Again, these are just very impromptu, no real seriousness to them. It's just for you to get to know me, ask me questions about the course or any concerns you might have, and just get to know the material and the platform a little bit easier. I found this helps our online students. So we begin those discussions this evening. And remember, as you can see, I have a full plate tonight. And remember, the link is in your course in the discussion forum. It's a different link than the student hours link for our class. So please note that. And I'll look forward to meeting and seeing everybody this week. And the next big thing this week is posted in your case study file folder in Blackboard. If you click on now case study, you'll see the case study file folder, which you'll upload your work to this week by next Sunday, February 13th at midnight. This case represents 20% of your grade, and the case is entitled Risk Analysis and Interpretation. And the format that we are using is the APA format of papers. If you're not familiar with that, remember the APA format is a title page, an abstract page, your writing, and then reference page. Pretty simple. If any of you have any questions about that, come prepared this week to ask me about them. But I've given you a link in the case study to help you if you have any problems with that. Again, it's a risk analysis of the company that you have given me this past week, and you'll be doing some work interpreting that company. And again, it's due next Sunday, and here is the case. There is Professor Hassey. Kind of scary. Here's the case, and please, I've given you two formats to download. They're both the same, a Word format and a PDF format, but you're not doing any work on this format. You're doing work in a separate file, and you're going to answer these various questions about the company, okay? The first part is a risk evaluation. You are to determine the following for the company you have selected. It's get credit rating. What is your company's current credit rating? Something that you have already done. You've done the beta for this company. At the same time, I'm going to ask you to determine the capital asset pricing model required return on equity investment for this company, knowing that you know the beta, knowing that the risk-free rate in this problem is 1.45% and the market risk return is 7.75%. Based on that information, tell me what is the required return on equity investment for your company. I want to see that calculation. Also, I want you to tell me the breakdown from the most recent balance sheet, most recent quarter, which will probably be December 31st, most likely. What is the current capital structure of your company that you've chosen? What percent of the company is in debt from the balance sheet? And what percent of the company is in equity? It's got to total 100%. So tell me what is the capital structure percent of your company. So there are some data I want you to put together for your business. The credit rating, the beta, which you've already done, the required return on equity investment using the capital asset pricing model, and the current capital structure percentages of the company. Once you have that data, you go to the second part of our analysis, worth 65 points of the 100. It's the risk perspectives. I want you, now that you've determined what the risks are in beta, the risk in the market of their credit rating, what is their organizational health risk? What is their environmental risk in your interpretation? In other words, you want to do a risk analysis other than just the financial. Do a little research. Tell me everything related to the sustainability of your firm's future viability. In other words, if you have a company that has a lot of lawsuits, if you have a company that's in a very difficult industry now with the pandemic, that gives us a little bit of idea of their organizational health risk. How about their environmental risk? Everything that's happening outside the organization that would affect your firm's success or organizational health. That includes the scan of social, political, and other environments that the company works in. Is your company dealing with politics, social risks, competition, inflation? What are the other risks that could determine the organizational and environmental risk of your company? This requires a little thought. This is a great start to an MBA class because I see how you can think, how you can figure this out. Look at the key takeaways for clues to help you. Here is if any of you are having difficulty with a APA format and don't have much experience with that, here's a link to a website that can help you with that. But I think most of you have experience in the APA format. Please follow the title page, an abstract page, a reference page, double space your text, have it as Times New Roman 12-point font. If you don't do any of those, you're going to lose a lot of points. Your minimum amount of pages is 5, and the maximum amount is 10 pages. No more than 10 pages for this analysis. And the minimum of 5 pages, you're going to have 1 page for your title page. You're going to have 1 page for your abstract page. You're going to have 1 page for your references. That only leaves 2 pages for writing. So again, go by these guidelines. You can write up to 10 pages. And this is what I want you to do. Do a risk interpretation and analysis of the company that you have chosen. In addition to this, in the file folder is a rubric. Now, if any of you are familiar with rubrics, rubric is how I will grade and assess the case. And this is how I'll grade the company or the analysis in the paper that you're doing. 20% will be on the paper's focus and organization. Are you answering the questions and organizing your answers appropriately to what is told to you in the case study. The risk evaluation, how you do your risk analysis. Do you find the credit rating? Do you calculate the capital asset pricing required rate of return? Do you give me the capital structure percentages? The risk perspective, how do you answer the organizational environmental risk of your company? In other words, how do you provide backup to this material? What are your references? Is it just you thinking about what the company's about, or do you actually go out and find some information? What is your support and elaboration of this? And finally, the overall the presentation of the paper. Do you follow along the double spacing of your text? Do you follow along the font and all that? The format and overall presentation of your work. As you can see, that's how I will grade, and there's a variety of different levels of the grade. Usually nobody gets under 65, so I don't even put that there. So this is how I will be assessing, and this is the document you'll receive from me as my response to your work in your paper. I will post this to your grade center once you give me your work and I go about grading, and I will return this rubric filled out so you can see my analysis of your work. So that's the first of our 5 case studies we're doing in this class, 4 case studies and 1 case assessment paper. This is the first one. Each one is worth 20%. Again, if you have questions, look over the material, figure out on your own what you can do and what you have questions on, and then either post it to the discussion forum, your question, send me an email, or come to our student hours on Thursday night. Speaking of the discussion forum, if you have a question about the case, here is week 2 student questions. Any question regarding case number 1, you can post it to this file folder and I will answer it to you. Again, remember the discussion forum is available to see by all of our students, and you can get some feedback and questions from me, or answers from me about questions about any of the material of week number 2. So again, the case study file folder, all you do is you right-click this file folder, click on the file folder, and you will upload your material, your file for the paper to this file folder, hit submit, and now I have it to grade. If you have any questions or concerns about this overall, how we're doing this, you know where to find me. But again, no extensions. This work is due Sunday, February 13th at midnight. Any postings after the midnight of Sunday, February 13th, or into Monday, you'll be deducted points if you are late. So if you're running into difficulties, running into problems, be sure you let me know so I'm aware and can help you with any concerns of meeting the deadline of midnight, February 13th, for this 5 to 10 page APA format risk analysis of your corporation. Now, in addition to your case study work this week, we're talking about the time value of money and an explanation of what the time value of money is. Here's a quick little video to explain it. Okay. Clear? I don't know about that, especially for you non-mathematicians in the audience, but then again, it gives you the basic definition of the time value of money. What we'll be doing in our Friday video this week is applying this to spreadsheets, how to do these calculations and these formulas, because I don't want you to be concerned about a lot of formulas, but you can do these very simply and very easy using the formula function of your spreadsheet, and we'll be looking at examples of those on Friday. As a prelude for that, let's take a look at this. This is a spreadsheet, and it's located in your week 2. You can download it. It's called Business 630 week 2 lecture notes or week lecture notes. You can follow this. This is the context that we'll be doing our discussion about the time value of money. Key thing about being in corporate finance is to invest an asset and have that asset give you an adequate return over the time of that life of that asset. And in our terms in finance, the life of an asset is its depreciable life. How long, many years you can depreciate it is the actual financial life of an asset. And how to put that in terms over the context of years of depreciable life and the earnings or the return on that investment over time will give you an analysis of its net present value and its true return on a capital investment. Another way of doing it also, as we're going to talk about from chapter 5, is determining the time value or the present value of debt investments. If we're going to get paid $1,000 with interest into the future, what is its present values today in the current market? We'll be looking at it in regards to stocks as well in week number 3. So if you want to download the spreadsheet and you can follow along with me on our Friday video, these are examples that are going to be applied to our class and our discussions in this course from chapters from week 2 and week 3 of our class. So a lot going on right off the bat this week. In week number 2, you have a case study, which will require some internet research and some thinking and some analysis capabilities. If you want to include a spreadsheet with your work, that is fine. You can give me 2 files, but the main grading file will be the paper format of the file. So the paper format could be in Word doc, it could be in Mac word processing, converted to Word doc, it could be in a PDF format. But if you want to give me additional backup or exhibits with spreadsheets, that's fine, but I will only be grading the paper format of case number 1. I give you a rubric so you can see how I go about grading it. And then we have our discussion this week of the time value of money and bond valuations, chapter 4 and 5. And you have a spreadsheet. And so there's some videos in week 2 about that. And we'll look at some actual analytical numbers of that in our Friday video. If that's it for this week, have a great week. I'm available for questions all week. And if you have any specific issues, we'll see you Thursday night in our student hours. But also, I hope to see all of you this week in our professor meetings during the course of our week. Thanks, everybody. Adios.